to my thugs, nerds, freaks, and geeks? You're now rocking with the one, the only, the Don Tony Teflon. And we are talking about The Last of Us. Episode 1, Season 1. We're going to recap it. I'm going to review it. I'll give you some theories of where I think it's going. Now, there's a lot of things. Yes, let's get this right off the bat. I did play the video games. I've beaten the video games, both of them. Extended version. Everything. From the beginning when it first came out, all the way to the second one that came out, and and a remastered edition too, right? So I'm very familiar with the game. I know about everything that's going on in the game. So I'm not going to spoil anything that's going to ruin the show for you. That's not the type of dude I am. I'm not here to act like I know stuff just because I played the game and want to spoil it. I want to just talk about the episode that it is. And they have made some significant changes in the show. So therefore, everything will not be the same that's in the video game. So it's just a treat. So let's say what up to the people that are here rocking with us right now. We got Why So Curious in the building rocking with us right now. We got China Moon. Beautiful name, China Moon up in there. John Haymaker rocking with me as always and everything else is rocking with us. We also have, let's go through the people in the chat. Those are the only people commenting. Oh, Cool Gamer is in here commenting. There's a bunch of y'all watching, but only a few y'all commenting. So maybe y'all open up a little bit later and stuff like that. Make sure you do one thing. Hit that thumbs up for your boy so that, you know, the algorithm pushes us out so that way we can have more people up in this piece and everything else. As always, Phil Issues guy is always invited. He has COVID or had COVID or I don't know. Something's going on. Maybe he still want to hang out with me anymore. But Phil's always invited and stuff. If he shows up, we will take calls. If he doesn't, we will not. What up to Tony? What up to my man Nola Boy? What up to you? What up to everybody out here rocking with us? Truly appreciate you coming through on this impromptu Last of Us live stream. Again, if you're going to send a super chat, you see the super chat cash app. Please cash app it at $ Tony Teflon 545. All right, let's get into it. Now, The Last of Us is a video game adaptation that HBO has put out. Now, the number one thing I will say is that there has been no good video game television shows yet. I mean, if you want to say The Witcher, I'll give you The Witcher. I'm willing to give you The Witcher is okay. It's not great, but The Witcher is okay. It's the best one up until now, and everything else beyond that was garbage. Halo was garbage, is garbage. I don't know if they're going to continue it, but Halo was garbage. I mean, if you want to talk about even movies, when you talk about the Mario Brothers movies, that was terrible. You know, everything that we've seen has been terrible. So that's why, there was that one with the orcs and everything else. That was just the Warhammer or whatever. That was terrible too. All of them have been terrible. There have not been a good one. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to it in the end, they had a very high bar to prove that video games, because they sell so many copies, video games make hundreds of 200, 300, maybe almost $1 billion some of these video games make, right? They cost $75 a pop. I'm easily selling over 1 million of them. These video games are making, especially when you add in all the add-ons and everything else that you put, video games make tremendous amount of money and have a tremendous fan base. So Hollywood always tried to tap into this market, but just could not get it right. Over and over again, they have gotten it wrong. But I'm here to tell you right now that this one they got right. Now, if someone just said the Resident Evil movie was good, who said Justin? No, which one are you talking about? Which one? I need to know which one, because I'll tell you the Street Fighter movie, the Mortal Kombat movies is terrible. That Mortal Kombat sucks so bad. Even the last Mortal Kombat movie was decent, but it wasn't good, right? The last one was decent. It wasn't good. Angelina Jolie, Tomb Raider, I liked looking at her. But as for the movie itself, it wasn't a solid movie. It didn't sell a lot. But really, I mean, we could just apples and oranges. If you liked it, I'm not here to tell you what to like or whatever. To me, it didn't live up to it. And I think it didn't live up to a lot of people's expectations when dealing with arcade game TV shows and movie all the way up to this. So that's why you don't see that many of them. Now we know that God of War, Amazon it's going to do the God of War movie. So we're going to have the God of War movie based on the last God of War game. So based on this right now, and listen, when you deal with HBO, and this is the difference, this is why you get a network like HBO involved in these things. When you deal with HBO, you get top quality because that's all they make is top quality shows, right? And that's what you get. When you get the guy who made Chernobyl to do this show for you, and you deal with HBO. HBO is not putting garbage out on their channel. They will get rid of that shit in a heartbeat. What up, Steph Snow? How are you? Glad you could stop by and rock with me while we talk about The Last of Us. You know what I mean? So so when I look at the company, and that's what made me very happy when I seen that it was announced that it was going to be on HBO. I mean, a lot of y'all fans of A Song of Ice and Fire and House of the Dragon, when George R. Martin was pitched the show, he didn't want to do it until he found out that HBO was doing it. And he said, oh, HBO made Rome. If they can make Rome, they can make this show. And that's what made him want to make. So really it comes down to a lot of it. It comes down to the quality of the network it's put on. Right here, Luna saying, so why is it so difficult to make a TV show based on successful games? CGI, cheapen on the story. What is it? I think that what it comes down to is that you have to be able to there's a lot of elements in video games that are repetitive, right? Because you have to build up experience in the character. Like say this game, like The Last of Us. In this game, you have to kill many monsters. You have to sneak around. You got to take planks and put it from one. We put it from one building to another and walk across. And you can't do all that in the show over and over again. You may be able to get away with it once. You can't just keep creeping up on stuff and stabbing stuff. It gets boring after a while. So I think it's hard for them to take that limited story and actually make it into a true big story. And I think that's the problem with it and everything else. You know, what you see what they did, if you look at dialogue and the camera angles, it's just about the same. When you see Joel and he's driving away and the shit has hit the fan and he's in that truck, that's the exact same camera angle that they used in the video game. Same angle. It's the exact same words that they say verbatim in the video game. When his daughter gets shot, it's the exact same camera angle from the video game and the exact same words. And this is what you have to do, right? DC has a problem making movies, but the DC animated superhero movies are amazing. But when they make a movie, they can't do it right because sometimes people think they want to do it better instead of just doing the same thing and changing it, just tweaking it just a little bit. Don't be afraid to copy what was successful, right? That's what you have to do. And this director knew, all right, he probably watched that video game, said, this shot works. I like this shot. Let's reduplicate this shot. Let's reduplicate this shot. This shot may not work for TV, so let me just tweak this over here, tweak that over there. And I think that's what he's got going on there. What up to my brother, Edward Martin up in here. And what up to Muhammad up in the building rocking with us too. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you in here rocking with me, man, for real. You know, I didn't think anybody was going to be up here at all. Thug Monk is always in hand. All right, so I think that's what works. Now, we're going to go through the whole episode and everything. We're just talking right now about the episode overall. Dealing with this genre, with this exact story, this game. What made this game so successful and made this game so good was the brutality. This was one of the most brutal, when it first came out, this was one of the most brutal games that was ever been released. You couldn't inflict damage on people the way you were able to in this game. I'm talking knocking people's heads off with pipes, Joel taking their face and ramming it through a toilet bowl and breaking the whole toilet bowl. It was a level of violence like the God of War, but it wasn't gods. It was regular people, it seemed like, doing this level of violence. So that's what truly made this game special. So if we shall see if they actually do that level of violence in the show. Now, the first episode, you get a little something, but you don't get the violence that we have in the game. And they want to set you up, and they changed a couple of things in the show to make the characters more, make the characters more likable. Like, when Joel, really, he's not looking for a battery with his girlfriend Tess. Really, they got guns. That's what they're looking for, guns, right? But they don't want to do that. They want to make him more likable. So, all right, he needs a battery so he can get out and go find his brother. Fine, that's a great change. That doesn't affect the story in any way, but that's what it is. You know what I mean? But that does make me think that quite possibly they could turn down the level of violence in it. Like when you see the people getting hung inside of the place, they didn't show the people actually get hung. You knew it was going to happen, but they didn't show it. Now, when they showed Joel burning the bodies of the little girl, now you didn't see the girl's body burn. You knew it was her because of the sneakers. That's why they put the prominent sneakers on her in the color, so you would know it was her. But they didn't actually show the burning of the body. So it makes me think that maybe they could turn down some of this violence that we're supposed to see, and I don't want them to. I do not want them. I do not want them to do that. I want to see it because that's what made that video game special. When you did stuff to it, you're like, oh, motherfucker, oh, you got to have that feeling. You know what I mean? You got to get that feeling. And the only way to get that feeling is if they do that. So hopefully that they do that and we can see that in the show. But so far, that's just my quick talking points about a video game adaptation and everything else. All right, so Lavender Luna says, I cannot wait to see Tommy later in the season. I'm so glad they fleshed out his character with what little time they had. And Diego Luna is so great. So yes, they did give us a lot. Just like I said, we didn't see everything they did with all the characters, right? So when you deal with Joel's daughter, we didn't see that. We didn't see all of that. Go get the watch fixed, go on the bus, go to school. They didn't show any of that in the show, in the video game. That was all added up in there, right? They had the narrative and everything, but they added that stuff in there to really break off right when everything is going on and everything else about to jump off when she's about to wake up and everything. We didn't know about him going away and this guy getting arrested at night and him having to leave, and that's why she was in the house alone. They don't give us that in the game. So I thought they did a great job that, and Edward Martin says, the actress played this daughter, you fall in love with her, and then kill her ass life like that. Listen, this chick did a phenomenal job. Now, listen, I hate it, but I'm gonna address it right now. I've seen the comments of the woke comments. Oh, they changed Pedro Pascal. He's supposed to be a Southern white guy with a bigger beard. Oh, they changed his daughter, and his daughter's black. You know, that is Pedro Pascal. Why are you looking at, in a situation like this, why are you caring about the ethnic race or the color of the individual? Could a white woman have done that job as good as her? I'm sure. But why, when she did it as well as she did? What did it matter? Did you not care for her as much? Would you have cared for her more if she looked exactly like the girl that was in the video game? Would you care about Joel more if it looked exactly like the person in the video game? I think it brings more to it, and I think they did a great. All that matters is how great of a job. Now, if you're talking about a historically accurate individual, then yes, you have to do that. But this is a goddamn video game. So I think that the casting is A+. Now, the little she-bear, I need to see some more from her. I think she did good, but she's acting against some heavyweights in here, right? She is. And I don't know how much acting chop she has and everything else. Obviously, she got casted for the role. So the director, they did the screenplay, they tried her out in front of everybody, and everyone said, she's good for the role. Let's bring her in, Bella. So there is a little, so I'm not an actor, and I can't tell you You know, I'm not an acting person. I can't tell you, but I will say that, damn it, if his daughter, I would have loved his daughter to play the role of Ellie, because I would have loved to see more of her. Not that I don't like Bella Ramsey. I do. But I love the girl they casted to play his daughter. I would have loved to see her in that role. I would have loved to see more of her. I would have loved to see more of her. But I love me some Bella Ramsey. Issues got joined. And everything. So that being said, Phil the Issues Guy is here in the building rocking with me. So again, it is a call-in live stream. The number is down at the bottom, isn't it? It's not. You know the number, right? Goddamn. I'll put it up there in a little bit. Make sure you call in. We want to hear from you. China Moon, everyone else, sci-fi, fantasy. We want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I want to hear everything. I want to hear your voice. So make sure you call in. I'll put the number in the chat in a little bit. It'll be on the crawl. I'll fix the crawl and put it in there. I must have got Nico Parker. Yeah, Nico Parker. Bravo, Nico Parker. Nico Parker. Let's give it up to you. Nico Parker. Amazing job she did. Sad to see her go, but she's memorable. Memorable. You'll never forget about it. And that's what they want you to see. See, this is the whole thing. You have to understand why Joel feels the way he does. You have to understand why he's so rough and why he's so gruff. What turned him to this situation. And it's kind of a dick, right? He's dickish, right? He's not the biggest dick in the world, but he's definitely dickish. There's no doubt about it. But you have to understand, her playing this role would make anyone act like that. When you had a daughter who was like that, you know, and they didn't go into in the show, but in the show, you know, the mom leaves Joel and he's a single dad. They didn't go into that, but they do point that out inside of the video game. And he's raising this girl by himself. You know what I mean? So when you have that and this girl is that memorable, that's what makes you understand why this motherfucker's so bitter. Why he acts so goddamn cold. Right? This is what it is. And that is the job that she portrayed. That is what she did. That's how good of a job she did. So she did an amazing job. I hate saying, I like saying it, but I hate saying it. But I would have loved to see her play the main character, Ella. I really would have. I would have loved to see her play because I would love to see more of her. But again, it's not a slight to Bella Ramsey. It's not a slight to my little she-bear. I love you, she-bear. I love you. But I'm just saying that chick was oh. And listen, from playing the video game and everything else and all that, I have an issue about Bella later on, depending on how many seasons they get out of this show. If they're gonna get 2 seasons, they're gonna do one video game per season. I think I think they can split it into 2. I think they can get 4 seasons, 2 seasons each. They stop halfway and then finish it off. I think it would be wiser to do that, but because I think Bella is too young to play the part of Ella in the second game. I don't think she's physically big enough to play the part of Ella in the second game. I just don't think it's possible. So I think she needs to age up a little bit. That's why I would say stretch it to 4 seasons. Probably by a 4th season, she probably would get there. But right now, she's just way too small to do what she's going to have to do in the second season for the second video game. I'm not going to get into that. We're just talking about this. I'm stalling a little bit, waiting for Phil to get ready, setting up right now. I don't want to go too far off and then have to come back and then do it again. Again, listen to John Haymaker. Better call Tony. 781-990-8509. That's the number. Call in. Leave your message. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear from you. We'll be here every week talking about this show until the show ends. I'll drop a video every motherfucking day. 5 videos a week. The weekends I'm taking off, but I'll drop it every day, right? So support the channel. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Go to the videos, like the videos and everything else, because that is what it is right there. That's how we do it. Make sure you call in 781-990-8509. You know what I mean? All right. Glenn Carter saying, I agree. She needs 3 to 4 more years. Her role. We're not going to get into it, Glenn, but you know what I'm saying. She's just not physically big enough to do that. That's a different animal that's going to come there and everything else. And we'll get into that, maybe one day, like on a Saturday or something, we'll do a straight spoiler stream. We'll talk all about it. But me personally, I think she has to get a little bit bigger. So that's why I'm thinking that they have to stretch this season into 2 seasons for the first game. Now, if you looked at the first game and you just watched the cutscenes in the first game, if you've ever done that and you want to watch again, you watch the cutscene in the first game, the cutscenes probably equal to about 7.5 hours. All right. And that's a little bit of footage in there too. A little bit of gameplay to get you to the cutscenes. They stopped the first episode at 1 hour into the cutscenes. That's where it first, that's the first one. 1 hour. So if they do an hour a piece, that would be their 7 episodes, 8 episodes. I don't know if they're going to do an hour and a half every episode, or this was just because of the opening episode. I'm not sure. But that's the way they stopped. So they could be doing it that way. Now, if they did it that way, they're going to go through the whole game in 1 season. So we'll see if it would be 4 hours of gameplay footage for half the season if they did it that way. So if you ever wanted to go in there and you want to watch, thank you so much, Jenna S, for the super chat. Thank you. Got nothing but love for you. I truly appreciate it. Truly, truly appreciate it. Doug Monk, this drink's for you. You were like, where's Kelly Johnson? We don't know. Kelly may only come around for Game of Thrones. We're not sure where Kelly's at. He may only come around for Game of Thrones. We'll keep that open just in case. Again, if you do want to send me a super chat and you can only send it on YouTube, I truly appreciate it. Please send it there. But if you can, please send it to the Cash App. The number's at the bottom of the crawl. $ Tony Teflon 545. YouTube takes 40% of all Cash Apps money, all chats, that super chats that you send. This way we get the whole thing. All right. So that's what we try and do. Again, thank you, Jenna S, for the donation. Truly appreciate it. Still waiting on Phil getting there. I see him there and stuff like that. He's setting up his OBS and everything else. He's getting ready. But I'll keep it right now. We'll keep it going right now. So again, when I look at the characters, let's go through them right from the beginning. Let's start with the show. So the show starts off, and obviously it shows us the beginning and the downfall of how this whole thing works out, right? How the whole fungus. Now, this fungus that they're talking about, Phil dropped off. Maybe something happened. He'll be back, hopefully. There he is. There he is. This is a real disease. This is a real fungus that really happens. There's insects. I've watched things on the Discovery Channel about this. Now, it's not. It's now in the Discovery Channel. It's not a fungus there's not a fungus that does it. There is like some type of like a worm or some type of it's not an insect. It's like a worm or some type of like a parasite that goes on top of like ants and goes on top of dung beetles and these other things and gets inside of their head and controls them like a zombie. It's not exactly a fungus that does it. It's more like a worm that does it, like a parasite that goes in there. And that's what I'm looking at this more like, that they took it from that they're doing that. So if you ever have a chance, go look at like zombie insects and you'll see it. Like it's this fungus, a parasite, it goes inside their brain and controls them. And they're dead. Right? The insects that they do this to are completely dead, but they still move around and everything else. So I think they took it from that. And that's what they were going. That's what they were going for. Lavender Luna says, "I loved how he got introduced to the infections from 1960s news show, the radio show mentioning issues from Ignatius, the twitching of Sarah's classmate in neighborhood. Also, eerie descent. I liked it too. Who was that one? Like I know who that damn scientist was, that the one who was talking about the fungus, but I can't like get his name. Like I know who it is, and I'm like, this motherfucker, I know you." And I know his face very well, but I can't think of where I know him from. Where is he from? Is he from The Mummy? Is that where I know him from? Like I'm looking at the dude, I'm like, I know this motherfucker. I'm like, I know his, but I can't think of him. I can't think of who it is. I just can't think. Yeah, Phil is in the chat, not on the stream. You're in the wrong place, Phil. Supposed to be over here. Supposed to be on the other side. Man, people like, yeah, it's the money. I know him. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, where I know him from? Is he in The Wire? Is he in this? I'm trying to think. I'm like, I know this motherfucker. But I thought that was a great way, especially. One second. Hello. I don't know who that is. All right, so yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is going on? What is going on with this whole? Phil's back. He's here again. All right, yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the hell is going on here with this whole situation and how that they're showing it? And I did like the way they did it. They brought the global warming into it, the aspect of it, you know what I mean? And, obviously we just went through a pandemic, it's just the way it is and everything else. We're trying to get Phil on. Something must be going on with his network or his connection or something or anything else like. That's it. There it is. Spartacus, Bartiatus. That's what I know him from. Yes, that he is Domina. That's what I know him from. I knew his ass. I knew his ass. It wasn't from goddamn Spartacus, Bartiatus, that motherfucker. Because I was looking at see if Elamar was here, she would have got it because Spartacus was like her favorite show. But that's what it is. Thank you, Fap. I really appreciate that. Yes, it is motherfucking Spartacus, Bartiatus, that motherfucker. All right, Phil, I see his face. I see. Is Bridge going to be joining? Not sure. Bridge has the invite. We'll see. Bridge is a little washy sometimes. And sometimes Bridge can make it, sometimes he can't. You know what I mean? But yeah. All right, I seen Phil. Then he dropped off, but he's here. But yes, you're 100% right. So I did like the way they did that, and I like the backstory. See, this is what it is, and this is what the show has to do. There's a lot of fleshing out they have to do in order for this to work. Because again, the video game is a survival horror video game, which means you're running around, you're killing stuff, you're hiding, you're waiting for patrols to go. You're not trying to get spotted. You're trying, depending on how you want to play it, you want to play it stealthy, you want to just bum rush stuff, but it's repetitive. You can't have this repetitive nature in the game. Everything has to seem fresh. And I think that's the problem with The Walking Dead. When The Walking Dead, it got too much, the zombies just became not a threat whatsoever, right? That no one cared about these damn zombies. It was like they were just like a nuisance just out there. It wasn't like they were scary or anything. You know what I mean? It was just like, the zombies, the zombies. Like these right now, you feel that these creatures are a threat. Now, there's different stages to these creatures. And I think that what they're going to do is they're going to show in every episode, you might see one in a different stage. Like we've seen the runners. And that's stage 1, the runners, when you have the infection. But there's other stages that go. Like we get to the clicker stage. And I think they showed stuff for the clicker, how the clicker stage is going to work. Let me see if this is Phil. Yeah, so there's the clicker stage. Now, the clicker stage, it takes about a year of infection. So it's not like some of these infections. When you get this infection, you just die right off, right? You get it, you get it, you eat a couple of people and die. No, no, no. You got to survive for years, and the longer you go, the different stages you go. So the clicker phase happens like a year after this happens, and they call them clickers because they make a clicking sound. But the thing about the clickers is that when they reach that stage, all of a sudden they get superhuman strength, superhuman speed, right? And when they do that, when they reach that stage, they cannot see anymore. They can't see anything. So you have to be extremely quiet. That's how you sneak around them and stuff, right? But you can kill them with a shiv right to the back of the back. Then there's other stages too. That's going to be the biggest stage, the one that's the worst, that you don't see that much, is the Rat King. The Rat King stage is the final stage before death, and the Rat King stage is one that's just nuts. Let me ask this right here. Do you think they'll introduce new creatures that are not in the game? I think that they could do something else. Like you could see more dogs or cats with the infection. You may see situations like that, or other animals with the infection. I think they could do more things like that with it, more than just, I think that's the way they would go. You know what I mean? And that's it. Yeah. The Rat King is just, that's the big bad of the all. When you see a Rat King, that's no killing that. You just got to get the fuck away. You know what I mean? That's, you just got to go, and that's it. What it is. Thank you, Kick Rock Jr. I appreciate that. Yes, long live the Don Tony Teflon. Long live you too, man. Long live too. Let's have a long life for everybody out there. Again, hit that. If you have a question and you want, make sure you call that number. Phil's gonna get in here. He'll get it fixed. He's good at that shit. And I have a super chat here from Jenna. Thank you so much. It says for you being amazing. No, thank you. I truly appreciate that for you supporting the channel and everything else. Super chats help more than you know. I truly appreciate it and everything else 100%. So yeah, when you see this stage of them, I think they're going to introduce one stage of them every episode, and I don't think we're going to see a Rat King until the end of the episode, until the end of it all. Then you'll see a Rat King, but you won't see it until then. You'll see a bloater. You'll see a bloated one. They showed a picture of that already. And then, so how it actually works is when the host eventually dies, and you see that in the trailer for season 2. I did a trailer breakdown for the second episode. Please check that out. But if you do see that, right, you see them walking into the tunnels, and it's like a cocoon, like where them. And what happens is that when they're going to die, they go and they find like a warm, wet place, and then they lay down and die. And then the spores that go all over the walls and all over the grounds, and the spores don't die when the hosts die, and they just start expanding down the whole thing. And then they take over everything. Another reason why you see them with this flashlights all the time is because that's how they show the spores. They always show the spores in the light. You see them in the flashlight, and that's when you know you have to put the gas mask on and everything else right there. So that's the way that goes on there. And that's it. Luna, the dog, gave a powerful report. Look, the dog knows. The dog motherfucking knows. Dog knew something's motherfucking wrong. You seen Grandma. I seen Grandma when she's up in the house and she got her back to her grandma doing that shit. Right? Like, it's either one or two things going on here. Now, Grandma's either in church and she's caught the Holy Ghost, or Grandma, this chick couldn't even eat a second ago. They was trying to put shit up in her mouth, and that shit was just going down here. They was like, Grandma, here, try this. And that shit was, she had pieces of bread sticking down her lip and shit, and she couldn't do nothing. And all of a sudden, this chick was just shaking. Like she got shocked by something, like something was going on with Granny. I was like, Grandma, Grandma. You got the pastor? Is the pastor there getting up and shit? I thought she was just gonna start going up and start dancing and shit. Grandma, oh, I feel it. She was doing it. You see that? You see, Granny? Granny was doing it. You know what I mean? So Jenna says, no, I think they use dogs to sniff out the infections. Yes. So we've seen that they have technology that shows that when people are infected. But the people who don't have technology like that, they use the dogs. The dogs can sniff out the infected people and everything. You know what I mean? They can do that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's what we see when you later on. When you play the video game, you have to worry about people when they have the dogs. Like when they're just by themselves, fuck those people. You come up, grab them behind and stab them. But when the dogs are there, the dog gets the scent trail on your ass, and you have to do it. So that's what they'll most likely use the dogs for in the show. Will just be when the dogs have the scent, and that was it. And I thought that was very sad the way they did that. You see this little girl, she's walking and she's trying her best. She collapses. You know, they bring her in, and you knew as soon as they hit her with that shit turned red. And you know, she's like, "Oh, we're gonna give you some ice cream, we'll give you a shot, give you some ice cream, and take care of you." Nope. They had to put her down. Lethal injection. Lethal injection. They had to do it. You had to do it. You know, it's a sad thing, but I agree with them. In a situation like this, no matter the age of the person or anything, at this point, now you get infected, right? When you get infected by this situation, it's by the bite. You get bit. And when you get bit, that's how the infection, all the spores, you can get infected by inhaling the spores. Two ways to get it. You know, most of the time, you'll see a lot of bites, but you can inhale the spores and get infected too, right? But I do think that at this particular time, now I know we having fun with Granny, and I'm bringing it back down a little bit and everything else. But you know, I thought they did a good job, and it's something that you have to do. If you lived in a situation where you live in a world like that, Shorty got to go. Shorty got. There's no. What are you gonna do? You're gonna let her turn into one of these creatures and just leave her out there? I mean, that's the only other option. There's the only other option. And I think that they did that when they did that and they put it on there like that. It's to show you how important Bella truly is. How important she is, because she could be the cure for everybody, for these little girls. And it's trying to show you the suffering of the world. And that she could truly be the savior of this whole planet, of everyone. Because in the game, I think they say 80% of the world's population gets infected. 80% of the world's population in the game gets infected. So there's only 20% of people out there that's doing it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's just not that many people. So when you have that many people, and in these shows and games like this, what they really want to show you is that just like The Witcher is the same thing. The Witcher's a monster hunter, but the biggest monsters are the human beings, right? And this is the same thing. This is what you're going to see as this progresses, is that as bad as these monsters are, human beings are 1,000 times worse. And what one line that I think you're going to hear in the show I'll say is that, I don't know if they said, I don't know if I remember from the game or they said it last night. They said it, but the guy says, he says, I think it's in the game. He's going to say, you'll hear, I guarantee they copy this line. And he says, I like the monsters better because they're more predictable. You know what they're trying to do. You can predict their actions. Human beings are just not predictable. And that's why he said he'd rather deal with these monsters than the monsters and the humans and everything else. I guarantee you do hear that line. And so I do believe that. I'm not going to say who it is, the character. Uh, Lav said, do you have a PayPal or Venmo? I do have a PayPal and a Venmo. I don't even know my pay. I don't even be using that PayPal stuff at all. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Do I have a PayPal? No, I have one, but can't you just you could just use somebody's email address for PayPal, right? So I'll type in my email address. It is Tony Teflon one at gmail.com. All right, that is that. That's my email address, and you can use that. Yeah, I do believe that you could just use an email address for PayPal. But yes, I do have that. If you want to use that, then that's fine. I appreciate it 100%. Uh, but yeah, I think you could just use my thing right now. All right, yeah, let me know what happens. Definitely let me know. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Uh, let me see this. This is Phil. Well, when you let me, all right, I'm gonna send Phil the link real quick and see if that one if that works. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I could send him the link. See if that's what's holding things up here. All right, the link is sent. Maybe that'll help him get up in here. So let's see. When society fails, it falls quickly. So-called civilized humanity go. Listen, let me explain something to you real quick about Luna. Let me tell you something. When this pandemic happened, motherfuckers lost their mind for toilet paper. Y'all remember that shit? Listen, motherfuckers lost their mind for toilet fucking paper. Lost their mind for toilet paper when this pandemic was jumping. Whenever toilet paper was scarce, people were going crazy for toilet. Listen, it's not that serious. You get yourself a rag, you wet that shit down, and you wipe your ass. Stick that shit in the washing machine and repeat. The motherfuckers was going crazy for toilet. I got my toilet paper. I'm gonna run out of toilet paper. I'm not gonna be. That's the last thing I'm thinking about. That's the last thing I'm thinking about. But if people are willing to go through those lines for motherfucking toilet paper, then you can imagine the main important shit, how crazy people are gonna go. The motherfuckers were losing their mind for toilet paper. I'm from Queens, New York. I wipe my ass with a leaf if I got it, goddamn it. Don't look at me like that. Y'all wiped your ass with a leaf before. You done did it. You got caught outside sometimes. It happens. Everyone's done it, goddamn it. Fuck you. Don't look at me like that. Goddamn it. Yeah, I did when I was a kid. I had no choice. I know you did too. Listen, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. All right? And that's just the way it goes. You find yourself a maple leaf and you get down. You fuck yourself up. Don't fuck yourself up, you know what I mean? But goddamn it. Yeah, stuff snows. You know, no, seriously. I have old t-shirts, towels. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. You gotta go crazy with toilet paper. But it just goes to show you what people would do, how it would go down when it goes down. We've seen it a little bit of it. You know what I mean? A little bit. You see it every time, anytime there's a storm that's going to happen. You know, oh, you go, there's gonna be a storm. You go inside, there's no water left. People act like it's like it's nuts. All right, I see Phil here. No, I don't. I don't know if he just does it every time I look at his ass. He just turns the camera off. Maple leaves feel smooth, silky. My friend told me. Listen, I don't remember the film. I just know I did it when I was a child. In New York City, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. It worked. Thank you so much. Let me make sure that it went through. I think it did. Yes, I see a thing on PayPal right now, and it says right here, "Thank you for your coverage, and thank you so much for doing it. I truly appreciate it. It means the world to me, and everything. It's thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Phil was just on. Now he's off. Now he's back. I, I don't know if I should just bring him in or not. Yep. All right, we're gonna bring him on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, what the weirdest thing was happening the whole time. Like you I was it was acting like I was in there, but you couldn't hear me or see me.
Well, you weren't never on the stream itself.
But it was telling me from my end I was on the stream. That's what was weird. That's why, like, if you look at the picture I sent you, it actually looks like from my end that I was on the stream and you just couldn't
You
see
should
me.
have see if you would have said, "Hey, put me on," I would have put you on the screen.
No, it was even when I was because I can go in that other way where I'm a team member. So I was adding myself to the stream. It just wasn't working. It was putting me in. It was like a glitch in the system. So
Well, you're here now. We can't see you, but at least you're here.
yeah, you don't want to look at me right now. I'm still a fucking mess right now. So.
At least you're here, and that's what matters.
My voice is like Harvey Firestein's ass right now. You know.
So we got a little crazy here talking about people and toilet paper and
yeah, I mean, people did go insane during all that. Let me catch up on all the different things you talked about. I didn't play the game, but I really fell in love with the character of Sarah right from the beginning. I don't know if you mentioned this on the stream, but I didn't place this. I was doing my after show last night, and Fandom D Saint popped in and goes, "Oh, that actress looks a lot like Thandai Newton." And I'm like, yeah, cool. She totally does. And then, of course, it's all over the news today. It was her daughter. It was actually her daughter playing the character. Sarah was played by Thandai Newton, Maeve from Westworld.
Oh, okay.
That's her mother.
Oh, wow.
And if you see it, it's like, oh my goodness, it wasn't just that she looks like her; it's her freaking daughter.
Oh yeah. You could now that you said it, I see it all day.
Yeah, like once you see it, like I didn't place, I just knew she looked familiar, and I'll give Fandom D Saint all the credit. He called.
Damn it! I'm really at that stage of my life. You know what I mean? I'm at this stage of my life where everyone's child is big.
Yep. Yeah,
like Eminem's daughter is big.
Yep. Exactly.
That's the stage I'm at right now.
We've aged out of it, and we're not like, I guess we're like Joel, where it's 20 years later, and all you get is a little gray in your hair and stuff like that. I mean, great episode. I know you and my co-host on my stream, Joe. You guys are both huge, amazing fans of the video game. I'm watching this in a different way, which is interesting too, because I'm getting the same vibes for the most part, and I also agree with you about Bella. Nothing against her. We know she can do good work on Game of Thrones. She didn't get a chance to show me yet that she's the lead of this show. I was all about Joel and Sarah in this first episode, and I think as I should have been, right?
Yes, and know that she is the lead of this show. It does change. So in the video game, you play mostly as Joel, right? So Joel is the guy you play as. But as the game progresses, it becomes her game. And in the second game, it's her game.
Yep.
Right. And so it all progresses to that.
And she did a good job in the bit parts that she had in the episode, but she had far less to do than Joel or Tess or even some of the other characters. So I'm sure she's going to come on late. But from this first episode, it's just Pedro Pascal is like the best thing working on TV right now. He plays all these brooding dudes, but he all makes them slightly different. I mean, yeah. What one thing is kind of cool is they announced that your favorite show, Tony, The Mandalorian's coming back on March 1st, and he's actually going to be going up against himself here.
Yeah, so I say Pedro Pascal looks good for 50. He's 48 in real life, I think.
Yeah.
He's around 48. So, yeah, he looks good for that. I mean, I think that they did a good job. I mean, it's not like he's that off.
No. I just think it's funny when they go 20 years later and he looks exactly the same. They
tried.
They tried to age him down. They probably just didn't color his hair for like the 20 years later because it's closer to his own age. And I also love that it was in Boston because, you know, I joked about this last night. It's like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme when I'm pointing at the screen. I'm going, oh, I know that place. Haymarket. I've been there. So I thought that was really well done. And I think you said this earlier, it was so important, even not knowing where this is going, to understand the dynamic of why Joel is going to care so much about Ellie later to see the relationship he had with Sarah. And someone in the live chat talked about this earlier, and you're mentioning this if we're talking about the beginning of the episode when we get the the thing that I know that isn't in the game. Joe was saying this wasn't in the game. With the doctors and the guy from the Mummy, like that whole section, which really helped pronounce what
Spartacus. He's from Spartacus. That's where I know him from.
From Spartacus.
He played Badiatus. He was the maid. He was Lucy Lawless's husband.
Oh, she put Xena Warrior Princess's husband.
You never seen Spartacus?
No, I never watched Spartacus.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, I watched the original, the old movie. I am.
Yeah. Lucy Lawless is in that. I think that's the last thing I ever seen her was in that. But God, I'm sorry.
Oh no. Just I feel like they did a really excellent job for people like me in establishing what is going on here. And I think that's why you added that scene. And you were talking also about what they were picking and how to dictate this and what has been a good video game adaptation up until this point. And they're slim pickings. It's the best video game adaptation so far because it's competing against a bunch of shit. Even if some of them you like, I like Raul Julia in the Street Fighter movie, but it's trash. The best one up until this point are animated ones, like the Castlevania animated series was really good on Netflix. There's been a couple things that are good, but I think
The Witcher is
The Witcher is another great example. Wreck-It Ralph, even though it's not based on a video game, but Wreck-It Ralph the movie as a video game is a fucking awesome movie. But ultimately, this comes down to, I think, the creator of the game, one of the writers of the game is writing this show. And as an advisor, that's what you need to do. I mean, because you said it, a lot of times they take a video game and they want to use it as a star vehicle for Angelina Jolie, or a way to sell games, or a way to do something, or a way to tell a completely ridiculous different story, like that Final Fantasy CG movie, which was nothing to do with Final Fantasy, but it just called itself Final Fantasy. So in what The Last of Us is doing is it's almost simple. It's following the fucking story, and it's adding things that should be added to flesh it out because it's a TV series. And like Tony was saying, part of the game, and Joe was saying this last night, part of it is going around and building up your experience, killing zombies, farming, and doing shit like that, and building up. So to show you that stuff, you add more television moments, and I thought it was done really seamless, partially because the creators are working on it.
Yeah, that's the key. When you have the creators working on it, you don't have people saying, I have to one up the video game. We take what worked in the game and you put it on the screen. As I said, when you see him driving in the car, same exact camera angle in the video game. When he turns and said, that's blah, blah's house, and you see it burning, same shot. You could look at it one-on-one shot, it's the same exact shot. When his daughter's dying, and he's like, get up there, he's grabbing her, it's the same shot. Use what works. Don't try to fight it and try to outsmart the system. I think that's what happens when you get video comic book movies. Listen, it's all there in the comic book. Follow the script, it's there. But these guys want to, I'm better than the comic book. I can make
Tony, you mentioned it earlier too. That's what the DC and DCAU did so well. They took the source material, wrote their own stories, but stuck true to what the source material is. People don't want necessarily the same things, but if you honor what the thing is and you don't try to create something ridiculous around it or something completely different. What this reminds me of, and I mentioned this last night too, is the Invincible thing. And I know you're familiar with the books and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Kirkman is working on this show doing almost the same thing but changing it a little bit in ways that he wanted to change it, and I think this is similar with the game creator. And I know what you were saying, and I thought this too, even though I didn't play it. It would be great if they could stretch this first game into 2 seasons, but they've already said first game is the first season, like one. Not that they're not doing season 2, but they've said that the first season will adapt the 9 episodes, 8 more episodes will adapt the first game in its completion.
Well, if they're going to do that, then I see exactly how to. As I said, if you go through the game and go through the story mode in the game, it's about 8.5 hours.
Yeah, it makes sense
of that. So this was 1 hour. This episode was exactly 1 hour of that 8.5 hours.
Yep.
So you could see if you I would say straight up that they're probably going to do an hour. If you go watch that or whatever on YouTube, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get.
Joe was saying that that the next episode, this is the only long episode, that the rest of the episodes are like 1 hour shots. This was the one that was a little bit longer, and because we got a lot of extra Sarah stuff, we got the intro and all of that. We do have 2 voicemails. Let's play them. This is from Jenna H.
Hi, Tony. Hi, Phil. When you get in, I wanted to say how much I love the show. It was so good. I'm so excited to be here on the super chat or on the live stream with you guys. This show was so good. The video game was so good. Everything about it was so awesome. I've seen some contention amongst some fan bases saying that they really don't like that they got rid of the spores. And I wanted to know what you think about it. Personally, I'm totally cool with it. I do think it kind of would have given it like a Stranger Things kind of vibe with like the dust particles everywhere. But I don't know. I think it's okay. Otherwise, everyone's wearing a gas mask all the time, right? I don't know. What do you think? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll get rid of the spores altogether.
I'll let Tony get on this in a second. This is what Joe was saying to me last night. He said that because he's done a lot of research about this crap, so I'm going to be quoting him a lot, saying that they took it out because but they might introduce it later, but they were doing it so the actors could more interact and have more to play with. So he didn't mind the taking out of the spores. I don't know if it's going to come back. Tony, how much does that play a part in the role of the game? Does that bother you as a fan of the game that the spores might be taken out?
Yeah, it does. They need to have the spores in there. It's what separates this from being a normal zombie flick. If you just have these creatures that bite you and that's how you get infected, then it might as well just be another Walking Dead type situation. This is what separates it from it. And especially, I just talked about the last stage of when these creatures die, that their bodies turn into these spores and take over this fungus on the walls. And that's what you have to worry about. Again, also when they show the flashlights, that's what you see the spores in all the time. You down, you see them flashing, and the spores down there. We can't go down there. We got to put the gas mask on. Again, also when dealing with Ellie, that's how it makes her special, because she can go in there without a gas mask, and then people would know. So Joel in the game is always telling her, you got to put your mask on. She's like, I don't want to wear that thing. He's like, yeah, but people will then know that you're immune. We can't have people know, so you have to put the mask on. So that little dynamic is in there too. So I want the sport.
So again, similar, you hope it's something that is introduced later.
Yes, they have to introduce. If they don't, it would be very disappointing.
Jenna was Steph Snow has a good point. I'm going to read in a second. Jenna says they don't have spores. They said so in the HBO podcast. And Steph Snow adds, well, maybe they didn't do it because I'm adding a few words to Steph's comment. Maybe they didn't do it because Pedro has another show where he wears a mask 24/7. So it was in his contract. He's like, I need to show my face in this.
I can feel that, but they don't have to wear. They don't wear it in the game 24/7.
Yeah. No, I think it was a joke.
Certain spots you see him to put the mask on and everything else. So thank you, Jenna, for the super chat from the Cash App. I truly appreciate that. She didn't put anything in there and all that, but that was what that was. And Just Genius, I'd say, says they are really respecting the video game storytelling and not fighting it, and that's what it comes down to.
Is it horrible that I just want Pedro at one point in the season to go, someone goes, we got to go this way, and he goes, no, this is the way. I just want one line.
I heard that he's leaving because he had to wear the mask too much.
Yeah, I mean, they're ending the show. He's leaving because he's getting outbilled by a CG puppet. It became it's not the Mandalorian show anymore. It's Grogu's show. I'm tuning in for season 3 to see Grogu, not him. And I love Pedro Pascal, but I kind of like the show, but it's the Grogu show now. Come on. Area code 919. Here we go.
Hey everybody. Happy Monday, happy MLK weekend. This is Justin, Just Genius Art in Raleigh, North Carolina. Man, this was an amazing first episode. I really enjoyed it. I came in with it having good high expectations, and I think they did phenomenal. They captured it. Like you said, normally we don't get good adaptations of games and this was a top tier game, and this is a top tier adaptation. Like, I think it's interesting to someone who's never seen it, and if you have seen it, it just gets you hyped. Like, but I hear you. I want the brutality. I want that feeling of like you're sneaking, the guy doesn't see you, and you come around a corner with that bat or with that brick, and you just foul. And I just, yeah. So I feel you that, and not just with that, when a clicker comes out, like, it needs to be lethal. It doesn't need to be like a zombie movie. It needs to be like, you need to get out of the way, get away from that. So it's going to be really interesting. Raiders, all that sort of thing. Even for slavers, I don't think we really had that in the game so much. So it's, I think they can flush it out. Like, you can have some filler episodes to where, it would have been like downloadable content in a way, if it was in the game. So yeah, I'm really excited. I liked how technically the first episode is like, technically you really haven't even played the game yet. Like, you basically did like a tutorial mission if you sync up the first episode with the first part of the game. So I love that too. Technically, the game hasn't even started yet. And I'm like, wow, this is great. So, thank you so much for holding space. I'm really excited to talk about it more and talk about it in the future. So peace and love, sending everyone love and light. Thank you.
Great message. Great message.
Thank you. I agree. I talked about it a little bit. The game is known for the brutality of it. That's what made this game special. Like, when you smash I played video games my whole life, and there was nothing comparable to the violence you would inflict on these people and these creatures in this game like this game. That's what made this game special, because you could kick the shit out of people, split their skulls and everything else,
Tony,
whether it was with a pipe or whatever you did. It was just, like I said, one shot. Joel takes this guy's head, he slams it through a toilet bowl, rips his head
now,
right
Tony,
through.
I want to settle your concerns and also answer a question that Luna has for us. Tony and Phil, do you think HBO will continue to make the same premium quality now that there's a change in the leadership in their drama department and the shows that they do? I do. And to answer your question with that, Tony, I present to you my defense number 1, Oz. Number 2, The Sopranos. Number 3, The Wire. Number 4, Game of Thrones. 6 Feet Under, even its brutality from that. Boardwalk Empire, crazy brutal show when it had to be. HBO has never shied away from that. So I think it's what you were saying earlier too. It's at the absolute right network. I was talking about this last night too. It's harder to name HBO's failures rather than their successes from their 1 hour drama department. If you look at all their shows that they've done in the history, it's harder to pick out the ones that go, oh, this one didn't really work. Most of them work. And if they don't work, it's because they didn't find an audience, not because they weren't good. So I think they're going to give this show the balls it needs.
Yeah, I hope so. It needs it. That's what makes it great. So hopefully they do. I mean, they got rid
Don't
of
forget Oz. Don't forget it. Like, if this is the network that let Tom Fontana shove a fucking pool stick up some dude's ass every week, they're going all out. They're not holding back now.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
That was in the 90s.
It was. Listen, in the 80s and 90s, you could get away with a lot more stuff on TV than you can get away with now. So everything changes, but it's as I said, it's just not the brutality to the creatures, it's to the people that are hunting them. They caught it too. You know what I mean? And we see like when he beat the guy up and he punched him in the face and everything else and beat him to death. They gave us a little bit of that then, but it's not the same. As for the person said, Kratos set the bar on smashing people. He did, but he was doing it to God, so it's a different situation. But yes, the God of War was
Devil May Cry.
brutal.
Devil May Cry was definitely very influential in that early on too, and of course, early Mortal Kombat, which you look back now, it's quaint and kind of funny. Or Killer Instinct, all those fighting games in the arcade when you'd rip people's hearts out and shit. Like, but that's all you watch it now. It's almost comedic funny, like watching Ren and Stimpy.
That's what it is. HBO going to take over the sci-fi genre. I think HBO. When I look at networks. And I say quality of shows. I'm going to be honest with you. Quality of the show that gets put out. there's only two right now who do the top quality for me right now. That every show I see, whether you like the show or not, it's top quality. HBO and Apple TV. Those two networks, whatever they put out, it's a quality show. Whether it's the lighting, whether it's the directing, whether it's the special effects, everything that those two put out is quality. Other things, Amazon, you look at Lord of the Rings, it looks a little suspect. Netflix looks suspect when you look at The Witcher. The Witcher doesn't look that great. It doesn't look like this, but when you deal with HBO and Apple if you don't have Apple TV, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's like $4 a month. It's the cheapest one of them all. But everything, they have quality actors. They pay. They put the money out, whether it's Samuel Jackson, whoever.
Whether it's Jax Teller in his new series, that's believe it or not, like even though it didn't hook into an audience, it's a pretty damn good series. I watch it occasionally.
Yeah, no, they pay the money, so HBO can take over any genre they want.
To get this over to video games again for a second, as Jesse just said, the video game genre is wide open right now. In a completely different neighborhood, now that The Last of Us has opened this door, and if it continues to do what it's doing now, and even if it doesn't satisfy in everything, if you come and have a couple of nitpicks here, or other gamers have couple of nitpicks, that's to be expected. But this is opening the door for a good video game thing. The next video game property that's coming out, and I don't want to go too far down this road because it's a different thing completely, is this Super Mario Brothers movie that's coming out. And if this movie ends up being a good representation of the kiddie side of finally giving us the Super Mario Brothers movie people, us Nintendo idiots want, this is opening up the doors for maybe a lot of good video game properties to come in the future. But you're looking at, with The Last of Us, and I don't know if Tony would agree with this, top 5, maybe top 3 video game story of all time. So the next one that's going to be a huge one is the God of War series, is probably one people are looking at. It's going to be the one that's the follow-up to this, that takes the texture that this series is doing and builds on that. So do you agree with that statement, that this is one of the best video game stories?
I would say that it's top 10. I wouldn't give it. It's not fleshed. There's only 2 games, so I can't compare it to like the Legend of Zelda, which is 1,000 games. The story in Legend of Zelda is so deep, and it's so.
Do you think that could? And this is an interesting point. The Last of Us would. That being said, what is going to make a better series? Do you think Zelda could pull off a series in the way that this is pulling off? I think
it'd be better. It would be
think
better.
So?
Yeah, the story is so much better. The Legend of Zelda story, and
this is interesting that the opposite, meaning I'm like such a Zelda head, and I'm on the opposite side of this. It's interesting.
Now, it's so deep, that story, that if you're talking about, look at Game of Thrones. Dragons and these creatures, and you have everything in Zelda. You have all of that, all the magic that you want, all the dragons, all the creatures, all the dungeons, all the gadgets. Zelda is so deep.
Well, you're gonna see it if this Mario movie is a success. You're gonna see Zelda next.
I think that, Zelda I would only want to see it on HBO. I wouldn't trust it to any other property, but if it's not on HBO, I'll be afraid that it's going to be coined.
I think they'd probably do a movie, but I don't know.
It's too big. Its story is so big. If you really go through, you could do a movie on one specific thing on Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, they would probably
do the whole thing, the whole story. It has to be.
I'm guessing they would do the Ocarina story and do the movie of the Ocarina story. But again, we're off subject to a point. But it's worth talking about all of this now because we're in a situation where we're actually talking about a good representation. And again, someone said Halo.
As Jesse said, Halo is a great story, but we've seen it on television. It doesn't work. They didn't do a good job. Paramount will put that out. Halo, I'm not going to say it sucks, but it sucks.
Just genius. I would definitely love to see something like that. And I mentioned it earlier, but I didn't dwell on it too much. But I have to say that if we're talking about good representations, the Castlevania series on Netflix a couple years ago was really well done, especially if you're into anime. Something like that would work in a Zelda context, but as a one-off kind of thing, Tony's right in the sense that an epic Zelda thing, for me, Nintendo, the best movie that they could do, or the one of the more interesting series that they could do and actually give what the Mandalorian didn't give us would be a Samus series, a
Yep.
Metroid series
Metroid would be great.
about a bounty hunter traveling through and dealing with a big space mission of some sort. I think that opens up a lot of possibilities for a Nintendo story with Metroid as well.
Metroid, because they had a game. What the hell was the name of it? Oh my god!
Kid Icarus?
No. It was a one game. They did one game. One of my favorite games of all time. Now I can't think of the name of this game. It was a horror game that they did.
Silent Hill?
No, the story of it was just amazing on Nintendo. Let me look it up.
Is there a Silent Hill, to people fans of video game stuff, is there a Silent Hill movie? So going into this, again, it was just a really good representation. And who would play Samus Aran? It's a good question. Bella Ramsey? No, I'm kidding.
Eternal Darkness.
Oh, Eternal Darkness. Yeah, it's a good game.
Eternal Darkness, amazing. Because if you did Eternal Darkness, it goes through timelines. You know, the thing about Eternal Darkness that made it great was that every time you're playing in a different character in a different part of time, the history, until it gets all the way back to the present time. You're finding the pages of the book that's made out of flesh that's been written in. And it goes, but Eternal Darkness would be amazing. Obviously, Metal Gear would be amazing if you really did.
I mean,
Metal
people
Gear
have wanted a Metal Gear movie with Kiefer Sutherland since 24. I mean, I remember people talking about that forever. And I just want to say what Luna's saying too. And unfortunately, this is going to happen. I mean, and yes, I know the Puss in Boots movie was good, but it's still like you do Into the Spider-Verse, and then people do a Puss in Boots Into the Spider-Verse. So yes, you're going to see a lot of oversaturated, low-quality video game crossovers. Okay, there's another one. I guess the Sonic movie was all right. I didn't even think about the Sonic movie. The Sonic movie,
that's not bad. You know
it was
what I
all
mean?
right.
It's not bad, but that's not what we're talking about. So the Sonic was good, and listen, they were Pac-Man cartoons when I was a child.
I love the Pac-Man cartoon with the Pac family and stuff.
Yeah, I loved it.
It was
But
awesome.
we're talking about different type of talking about different things.
Different type of entertainment. If we're talking about adult drama type oriented entertainment, there's only a few sort of oriented things. I mean, didn't they try to do a Grand Theft Auto movie with The Rock or something? Am I making that up in my mind? Or
they did a Rampage movie with The Rock.
Oh, it was Rampage. That's what it was. It was Rampage.
It's a Rampage. It was terrible. Listen. The thing is this: as Eternal Darkness is class. It was they did. If no one's played Eternal Darkness,
it was a GameCube game originally, right?
It was, and it was so cutting edge because it would do stuff like. I don't want to talk about the game too much.
We won't draw like.
But I have to say because I love it. So like the game was so good. Like it when you seen a certain amount of horror in the game, it would affect the game. Like all of a sudden, the game will act like it's shut off on you, and like you'll get it'll say, "Oh, reboot your game," and you really think the game shut off on you, and it was just because you've seen too much horror. You'd see stuff crawling all over the screen like spiders and stuff. It was just they did a lot of stuff. It was very cutting edge.
Oh, was it 64 Haymaker? Not I thought I remember GameCube, but it might have been.
No, it was 64. It was 64. No, was it? Yeah, I think it was 64.
Jesse says top 5 video game adaptations. I will say that The Last of Us is probably already number 1 after one episode.
It's number 1 in my book. I can't see anything else. I mean, you have to say that The Witcher. It makes me wish The Witcher was on HBO. Because it would just been so much better.
I like the Mario movie with Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper, but not because it's good. It's objectively a bad movie, but I like it. That doesn't make it good.
I mean, it's hard to say how many of these things. A Street
Fighter
movie has been made into video games, so you can always say that's the best.
Okay, yeah. Then my pick for Scott Pilgrim versus the World counts too, because it felt like a video game. Or does that count? Can we pick Batman, the Batman movie, because the Arkham games are awesome?
Batman, yeah, Arkham games are
great. Arkham games are awesome. But anyways, I think the point is what we were saying last night too. There's thousands of them, and it's saying a lot that we can most say with strength. Even if you didn't like this for whatever reason, it's
one episode.
it's still, after one episode, it's objectively the best video game adaptation of all time. And I'm not bullshitting there. It's true.
Someone say Double Dragon.
Oh yeah. Sure. That was amazing. Oh, but honestly, in this climate of video game adaptations, Double Dragon might be top 3. Like,
But the whole thing is that there's such an audience that's clamoring for it that finally they've gotten it right. And I just think that we see the formula that it takes. It takes someone that has worked on the game to be directly involved and a studio willing to put up the money to get it done right. When you have those things, you get what we get right here. And I think that's what. Listen, the last Mortal Kombat movie was the best of them all, but it still wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, entertaining and good are two different things. This show is good enough if it continues the pace after one episode for like award-winning good. This is really well done. Pedro's acting in this first episode when he lost his daughter and that whole section right there, and then leading into seeing, really feeling like after 20 years that would be the weight he would have on him.
He's still having nightmares about
it. Still having nightmares, and he plays it so incredibly well. I can't, because of all the focus on the video game narrative and on everything to come and the atmosphere of it. I'm not gonna not give Pedro Pascal, because we're all used to him so much, not his flowers when this already seems like it might be his best acting work. He's great in all these little roles, whether it's, I know he was for a whole season, but the Viper popping on in there, and that's his bust out role. He was really great in Narcos in that small role. He sucked in Wonder Woman, but that's not his fault. That movie sucked. And then of course, I mean, anyone could play the Mandalorian, but he's good. He's good a couple of times. His face shows up and his cadence is good. But to me, this is his best acting yet. Like, this really should be.
Narcos.
He was really good on Narcos.
Yeah, he was
really good on Narcos.
Narcos was good. He was really good in Narcos, and he tore it down as the Viper in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he owned. That was a bust out. That was like
that was. Yeah, it's a breakout. And I'm telling you, I would say that I didn't like the character in the books at all. Like, I thought that when he was saying this lines, like, you see that when you read the book and you read that when he fights the mountain and he goes, "You raped her, you killed her, and you took her children, you raped the children, you raped it." And I was like, this corny, saying it over again. But when I heard him say it on screen,
you heard it in Roy Dotrice's head.
It was so much better. He's like, "We go the children." I was all about it, So I didn't want to see him go, even though I knew he was going to go. So
Sonic,
he brought more life to that than I ever could have read. He did a much better job.
No, dude, he really did. It was one of those blow up parts, like Heath Ledger playing the Joker, like Buster Rhymes on the Arsenio Hall show. Like when you just step out in front of the crowd and you just go, bam, here the fuck I am. I'm the fucking best thing right now. You can't help but look at me. When you're in scenes with Tywin and stuff. I do want to mention that that's something that people do bring up, Tony. God. What's your opinions on the first Tron movie? And do you consider that a video game movie?
I don't know if, I love you, Jesse. I do. I got nothing but love for you. But to say that you hated Tron is disgusting to me. I was Tron when I was little. I went outside with a Frisbee and I threw that shit thinking I was fucking Tron. I took a glow stick and I taped it underneath the Frisbee and went outside at night and threw it around because I wanted to be Tron so bad. Tron, to me, is it a great movie? Does it hold up over? No. Some of the graphics hold up. Like, if you look at the computer animated graphics, Pixar took that later on and stuff from them and used them, right? So the light cycles, all that shit holds up. The story is weak, 100%, but Tron is Tron.
It's part of it is generational too for our generation, our Gen X generation. That was huge for like a technological advance kind of thing. When you saw that, you were just like, "Oh, I'm Tron." You're right. You were just, "I'm Tron." Tony, we do have another voicemail. This is from area code 916.
Hello, This is the voice at 916.
Mm.
I so much enjoyed this episode of The Last of Us. I'm not a gamer, and I do realize there are billions of gamers, but there are also billions of people who don't play games. And what's most important, at least for me, is story, character, acting, and everything else that goes with it. And if there's violence, if there's a reason for violence, I'm cool with that. You know, if it needs to be hardcore, because the story is hardcore, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But this show, I'm really excited for it.
I'm
And I
excited too.
hope each episode continues to build upon the other. I have only good thoughts about it so
I have
far.
some good thoughts right now too.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Phil.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
Phil, go easy on yourself. COVID ain't no joke.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. And
Good day, sunshine.
I'm gonna tell you, I love it so much, and thank you so much for calling. But if they did that good with the first hour of this game, from when you look at it, and I'm saying hour of the game when dealing with just the cutscenes, the hour, they have so much more to do, and it's going to get so much better. That it's just going to be an amazing first season, and if that's the plan, like you said, that they're going to do the whole season, I don't know how they're going to do season 2. I really don't. I don't know how because they may have to recast Bella Ramsey in season 2. They really may. Because I can't see her at the age she is now, looking the way she looks, play the role of Ella in season 2.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say with not knowing much. And also, again, we were saying this last night, and this isn't me being hard on her. It's TBD for me right now. I haven't seen enough to see if she's going to be as captivating as Pedro was in that first episode. I have no reason not to believe it, but I haven't seen it yet. So it's hard for me to even address that, to think about her doing more on the show right now. I have a very wait and see attitude. She was really good in Game of Thrones and what she got to do, but she definitely played a single note on Game of Thrones. And I obviously assume that Ellie is a different kind of character and has many different layers. And from the first episode, I get that she's a wise ass, she's capable, she's duplicitous, and she's always watching. And I understand, the situation with her. She's not turning into a zombie and she's been infected. So I understand all those points, but I don't really have a read of her character quite yet. And I have a feeling that's going to change in episode 2.
Yeah, they may. I'm saying in season 2, they may. I'm really mean this. They really may have to recast her, and if they did 4 years out, like say it was, let's say this is done, and it takes them 2 years to get 2 years out. So if they did it, it would be 4 years out from season 2, and she got bigger, and it's really a physical thing. I just don't think it's such a more physical role for her. Obviously, as I said, in the video game, when you play the first game, you're Joel most of the time. She's a supporting character. You know what I mean? Like while you're playing Joel and you're fighting, she can lob stuff at you, and she's a supporting character in the side. It would come to the second game, she's the main character. You play her a lot more. So I just don't see this little girl, as they show her right now, doing the things that she does in season 2. Not that she can't do it, but saying that she would be believable doing it. Not saying that she's a 24. Is she 24?
No, she's 9. She's 19. She's 19.
20. That's 24. That's the youngest looking 24 I haven't seen in my life. But she just I'm not gonna spoil anything, but
Luna, Good question with Luna. What did you think of the other actress, Tess and Marlene? The actress that played Marlene, I believe, is the same person that did the voice acting.
It is. She's the same one who did the voice acting. That's why the character looks just like her.
It's awesome. That's fucking awesome that they did that. It's great.
And I think she did it. She did a tremendous job.
Oh, great.
Tess is great. I love the way the first time you see Tess, she's locked up.
What show do I know Tess from? I can't place it, but I know her from something. She's awesome.
I gotta look at her again. But
awesome.
I mean, she's locked up. She's beat up. You know, that's not a glamorous thing you usually show of a chick, but I love the way that they showed her.
Oh, she's such a survivor, and how she's handling Joel. And again, I don't know where this is going or what's happening, but she just has like she's pointing Joel. She obviously cares about him, but she nothing gets done unless someone's controlling Joel. It seems like you see it at the beginning with Sarah, and now she's doing it with Joel. And I'm liking Tess a lot in the first episode.
Yeah, no, Tess is amazing character. She does a great job.
Fringe. She's from Fringe. That's what I know her from.
Fringe. Yeah. No, she's done. I think that they're good, and I don't want anyone to think I love Bella. I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to say anything. Just from someone who has played the video game and I know what's coming up. I just don't know if she would surprise me if she did.
But that's the thing, Tony. Like that, it's the best position an actress can be in to surprise you, to
subvert expectations.
Exactly. Especially by the end of the season, you should be able to know. Okay, this is after the first episode. When we come back here by the end of the season, ask this question again and see how you feel about it, and see if maybe that's part of it, that we're going to see a growth in her character and they're playing down her child, playing up her childness instead of down it. So when she's actually played up an adult a little bit, she's going to seem and feel a bit older. They could be starting, having because again, you have in your mind, at least I do. I can't tell you what you're in your mind. In my mind, I'm still thinking about her as the little bear. And I haven't quite shifted over to start thinking about her as Ellie yet. So I'm having a little processing speed going on in my own head. I don't know if you're having a similar feeling.
She'll always be the little bear, right? She's always going to be. It's like Maisie Williams will always be Arya, right? You're always going to see certain.
Could Maisie 10 years ago, 15 years ago, been a better Ellie for you?
I don't want to say that, but yes.
I don't want to say that, but you fuck yeah.
I wish the daughter played this role.
Thandai Newton's kid.
Yeah, I wish she played this role. I wish she played it. I wish she was her, because I'm 100% behind Bella. I want to see what she's got. I don't want it to be recasted. I want to see what she's got, and I think she's doing a good job right now.
Good job. It's the one. It's just
and I want to see more. It's just when I know what happens, and I'm just talking season 2. I'm not talking about now. That's why I thought maybe they prolonged it, did the first game for 2 seasons, then she aged up into the role, and that's what I'm saying, because she has to be a lethal person by the time the season 2 gets involved, and we'll see. I want to see what she does.
Oh, she was in Sons of Anarchy. I forgot she was in Sons of Anarchy too. Oh, that's fucking awesome, Marlene. But I was just rewatched it. But Bella was also in His Dark Materials. Was a tough, sassy young girl in that too. So I feel the same way, Tony. I just don't have enough sample size yet, and with everything else because you can't help us. We're sitting here talking about this show one episode for a couple hours after the show. Everything else in this show was a hit for me, and she's the one unknown still. And so you can't help but just ask the question, because we just haven't seen it yet. I have a feeling, and I haven't watched the preview. Tony did a great breakdown. If you want to see a good breakdown of it, check that out. I'm trying to be as naked as possible going into it. But I assume the next episode we're going to get to know her a lot better. It's going to be more of a focus from Ellie's perspective, and we might go back and forth a little bit. And I don't know if at what point in the game you take control of Ellie, and I don't know if that's the point where we're gonna in an Ellie level will be the Ellie episode, or I don't know if they're going to be that true to it. But now that the numbers are scaled down and we're going to be with Tess, Joel, and her, it seems like we're definitely going to get more of Bella, because I think Bella showed me something in the one-on-one scenes, in the one-on-one moments with Pedro, and that's probably why she got the role, where she got a little lost for me. And again, this isn't a discredit to her, it's just a credit to all the other great actors working in the scene, like in the scene in the hallway when you have all these awesome actors working, and she's she just got in the background a little bit for me. But I think when she's in more one-on-one scenes with Joel or scenes with Joel and Tess, I think it can give her more room to work off the other actor. And I think you're going to see.
Listen, it's hard when you're with people who are skills, and you see the skill set, and the writing and what they're instructing her to do also.
Yep.
So it's not this her skill set that we're seeing. This is what she's doing what they're telling her to do. So maybe they have a big master plan, and that's why they're playing it down right now, and that's the way they're going with it. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And she's kind of playing duplicitous a little bit, and is going to show to be more capable later on. There's a couple of moments where I think they tip that cap to that, the way she was almost like someone's like, no, I can't do this, and then someone, can I help you, and then you like, I slit your throat or something. She seems like that person that might do something like that. Pippo, Pedro is hot fire right now. Who has more of a potty mouth, Tony, Ellie or Ruth from the Ozark?
It should be Ellie. Ellie's mouth is disgusting in the game. Every word she says is fuck, shit, fuck, shit, fuck, shit. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? See, this is what. All right, so I'm gonna say this. So, and hopefully it turns out like this. So when dealing with Game of Thrones, real quick, when you seen Arya when she did the first kill, when she was with the Hound, and they were leaving that diner restaurant, and you see her stab the person, and she was laying on top of him, it didn't really look good. It looked like blah 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 blah. But later on, over the seasons, she looked like someone who could actually do all these kills. But that first initial kill she didn't look good at all, because she was so small doing it. I'm just saying that I don't know if this actress has the physical. I'm not saying her acting chops.
No, I know what you're saying.
The physicalness. I don't know if she's big enough to believe that.
Come on, Tony. She took down a white giant in the greatest scene of all of Game of Thrones.
I just don't know if she's physical enough to do it, to actually do it, to do what she's going to have to do, to go up against who she's going to have to go up against in season 2.
It's going to be
and there ain't no goddamn White Claw motherfucker in my thug mark. They'll never.
He's putting a fruit punch White Claw in the. Hey, don't hate on those White Claws; they're delicious. Or I actually like the Bud Light ones the best. They're actually pretty good. But
but Arya surprised me. She grew up Maisie Williams, and she became that killer. That's why I wanted to give her more time. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, there's also a lot of production time in between when this was shot, probably 2 years ago at this point, or like a year and a half ago, and then when the next season starts filming, theoretically a year from now. So it's more time than it's going to seem in a weird way. So she could be much more aged up than we realize, and that's why they cast a 19-year-old who, by the time they film again, is going to be 23 or something. Bordering 22 or something like that.
It could be a situation like that. What up to my man Sir Ryan Vine from back in the day, my man from way back in the day. Still had a great YouTube channel doing Game of Thrones stuff. Some of the greatest breakdowns that we ever seen was done by Sir Ryan Vine, without a shadow of a doubt. So thank you for rocking with us, man. But yeah, you're exactly right. I'm looking at when they shot this. She could be much older. She could be bigger. She could train to get in the role. There's a lot of things she could do. What I mean?
She could be in training right now. They could have shot. I don't know when they shot this, but I'm guessing they shot it in early 2021 or something. but so it's, or maybe even a little before that, because I remember the series almost came out sooner, so they probably were in post-production for a while, getting the looks of the zombies quite like exactly right to the way they wanted to, because I know this got pushed back. Originally it was supposed to come out at the end of 2022, so maybe it was filmed at the, so I'm saying like she could look a lot older in a potential next season. If Bella got and Sonic said if Bella got trained up and lean, she could be older Ellie. We do have another voicemail. This is from area code 919.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to call back. We're just still kind of hyped, just seeing so many different things, the sniper rifle that the brother had, the moment when he was like trying to put himself to sleep with all the drugs and stuff, the pills, and the music that was playing, the buildings at the end smacked up against each other, and the lightning. There was just so many different like moments from the video game that they just captured. I really enjoy even the color setting. There was a couple of moments where you see the walls and you see the colors. It was like matching the color scheme of certain areas in the video game as well. I really enjoyed how they even showed you the how people are living. It's like they're giving their freedoms away for security. And, you see the fireflies, and, even in the game, it was kind of like, who are these people? Like, why are y'all doing this? It's like, y'all are obviously losing. But, so I'm really enjoyed it. Just wanted to call back and ask a question. And, what are you hyped for? What was your favorite part of the game? And, or how are you looking forward to seeing it being in the show? Thank y'all so much for holding space. Peace and love.
So yeah, protecting spoilers, Tony. What's something you can be vague about to someone that maybe played the game that will know what you're talking about, that you're looking forward to seeing on screen?
So many things that are going to be good. I will say that it should have happened within I would say if they're doing this route, episode 3, they'll be going to find some dude, and then there will be some traps that are set. And the way that it played out in the game, when these traps that were set and what you had to do, it was a very unique angle that you had to do it at, and it was very good. So them recreating that, I expect them to do.
Is it like a stealth mission kind of thing?
It's not a stealth mission. It's not that. You get caught up in some traps, and you gotta handle your way out of these traps.
Sounds like Home Alone. Like you're a soggy bandit coming in on Home Alone.
So I think that will be an interesting scene when they show that. Everyone who's played the game knows exactly what I'm talking about. It should happen within the 3rd episode, I would say. Well, it depends. You see, that's weird. That's weird. Yeah, but you know what I mean. I agree. To Sonic knows I'm looking forward. So I think they would have to do that the same way. I think that should be a very interesting thing. So that's what I'm looking for right now. That's what I'm looking forward to right now. That shouldn't give away anything to anybody unless you play the game.
Yeah, and I'll be more vague about it. What I'm looking forward to is just seeing the dynamic between Ellie and Joel, because I don't feel like I got as much of it in the first episode. In the couple moments that they did spend together, like when he was taking a nap and she tricks him with the music cue thing, where he has the code with the music, and she tricks him with the 80s song, and they have a little bit of a connection. I got a little bit of a vibe of that, but I'm most looking forward to seeing what their dynamic is, and seeing what Bella can do, because I'm excited to see if she's the real deal or not. And I think you're going to see within this role if she is.
Yeah, no, I got faith in Bella. Again, I felt the same way about Gal Gadot when she was casted as Wonder Woman, that she wasn't physically big enough to be Wonder Woman for me. So
there's only one Wonder Woman in my heart, Tony, and her name is Linda Carter.
That's right. 499 from My Mary. Thank you so much. Such favorite part was the radio playing the 80s Depeche Mode.
Yeah, at the end. Yep.
At the end was your favorite part. It ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good. That was.
I was happy when it was over. They were
I was
playing
happy when this thing ended,
the
and
fucking
they
stupid
played the
stuff.
festival.
But no, it was a really cool way of bringing it back into the scene I was just talking about. And I assume that's his brother sending him a message that he's in trouble, showing him that he's alive. And Joel wasn't there to get it, but I assume we're going to see the brother again at some point.
I'm not saying nothing about that.
No, but going back to the episode, some of the stuff with the brother was stuff added as well, right? We got to meet the brother earlier on than we do in the game. Joe was saying that he's not at the breakfast or something, or she doesn't go to school, like all that stuff we saw at the beginning. The video, for people that didn't play the game, from what I've heard, and Tony can correct me if I'm wrong, that the game starts when she's on the couch giving the gift to Joel.
Yes, everything we've seen before that never happened in the game.
Yeah, never happened in the game. Okay, that's right.
And you're gonna have to have a lot of moments like that, because again, this game is a lot of just killing people, leveling up. You know, a lot of take this plank, go find this plank, and take the plank and stretch it across from this building to this building so you can get in. Go push this thing up here, go here so that you can get in. You can't do that in the game. You maybe use a plank scene once. But you can't have every time him going to find these. How come these planks are all over the place, right? You can't have that. So you may be able to do something once, and that's it. So you're going to have to do a lot of fleshing out, you know. So when I look, I don't want to give away anything with the spoilers, but I will say this: it's a horror survival game, which means not everybody survives. That's just the way it is. That's the game. That's just what it is. So, you know, I don't know how long they're going to have certain people in the game or not have them in the game, and how long they're going to put people in there and stuff like that. But it's going to be very sad when it's all said and done that people that you liked aren't going to be around in the game, but for very long and stuff, you know. And so that's just what it is. So so far, listen, so far so good. I'm going to rate this 8.5 out of 10. What did you give the first episode, Phil?
Probably around the same. I might even, having not played the game and not having anything to compare it to, and having it completely grab me to the point where I watched it twice and I really liked it. I think I have to give the premiere episode a 9. I think I'll give it a 9.
Yeah, I'll go 8.5, so I have places to go.
Yeah, no, totally. I only have disappointment ahead of me starting with a 9, but I'll still give it a 9.
It's so I can have places to go. You know what I mean? My Mary gives it a 7 out of 10.
Still a great score. Still a great score.
It's still good. I think that
when I came home with the C on my test, I was still happy.
No doubt about it. So, you know, I think it has place to grow, and I can't wait to see where it grows. I mean, listen, I will say the one thing I didn't like about it, well, you know, when and I'll say this is pretty good, but one thing I didn't like about was when the old lady who had the Holy Ghost that ran out of, you know, when she was getting chased, and when Joel was getting chased with his daughter in the beginning, and the guy was, every time the guy was right on his ass, but he just happened to trip over here, and he just happened to, you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is, you know, corny to me. Like, but I understand why they do it, you know what I mean, and everything else. But, you know, the guy just trips over here, and he comes at him again, and he falls down again, and then I don't like that. I don't like that. I know we're going to get a lot more.
That was a little bit too much like chasing after Princess Leia for you.
Yeah, it's too many times. Like, you do it once, like maybe he stumbles one time and again, but when he stumbles 4 distant times and you trap.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done it a different way, where he stumbles in the kitchen and he gets stuck in the oven for a second and he has to like pull himself out, so Joel gets a little bit of a head start.
But they kept doing the same stumbling thing. You know, it's just too much. They did it too many times, and I didn't like that. It's the only thing I didn't like about it. That was it. That's the only thing I didn't like about it, was that one little thing right there. The aftermath and everything else was great, but yeah, that's just the show was on easy mode. It was definitely easy.
You weren't playing grounded mode in this one, or
definitely easy.
I mean, the only criticism I have on it's very trivial. It's a choice thing. I wish it's a camera angle thing. I want a few more wide shots, because the sets look so good that they're framing it a lot in these single shots and just focused on the actors. And I just want to get a little bit more of a feel of the scope, because they seem to have done such a great job designing this world. I want to have it feel a little bit more lived in. But that's the reason why it's not a 10 and it's a 9. And that's a very minor nitpick on my end. Just because did a lot of like every shot had an actor in it. It was a little shaky handheld vibe at times. I just want a few like tracking big shots to see. But that's the Breaking Bad in Better Call Saul fan in me that wants to see everything. These big Coen brothers, No Country for Old Man angles and shit like that. But great show and nothing to complain about.
Yeah, no, the plane crash was amazing.
Oh, that was more of that. I want to see more of that shit.
Yeah, we need more of that. I would say they took that. I mean, I'm gonna say they took it, but if there's a show called Flash Forward that did almost the exact same plane
It also
crash.
reminded me a little bit of the Lost scene when the plane crashes. Like that other things that have done that well. I also heard, and again, if we're talking about changes, that was not done exactly that way in the books. It was like it was a truck or something, right? It wasn't.
Yeah, it was a truck. Well, it wasn't a plane that got in there. They changed it. Listen, and I don't mind changes. Like it doesn't have to be the exact same.
Those are things to be able to goose you. You don't want to watch this and go and again do the Leo thing every time. I saw that. You want to
go on YouTube right now and go Last of Us. All cinematic scenes, and you can watch it for 6 hours straight.
Tony, how cool was it to watch that first, for you as a fan of the books, coming in it from there, to watch that first season of Game of Thrones and have that scene with Robert and Cersei, or the Jaime and Ned fight being slightly different and they actually fucking fight and Ned gets off the fucking horse. Like it's those things that are exciting when it makes sense to the story and it's just a remix.
I don't want to know everything. When it comes down to it, I don't want to know everything. I want to be surprised as just like the people are surprised, but not to the point where it's stupid. You know what I mean? Like not to the point where it insults to the point where
it's the Last Jedi. Sorry, Last Jedi.
Yeah. Nothing to that where you're just gonna
take
all the best elements of all 3 movies and put them in one movie and say you did something great. You know what I mean? So that's what
I subverted your expectations, Tony. That's what I did. Oh, you think this is gonna be the story? No. Both Joel and Ellie are gonna get eaten in the next episode. Subverting your expectations.
Yeah, you can't do nothing stupid. Who's Snoke? He's nobody. Oh,
he's
really?
Nobody. I made Snoke. Shut up.
He's nobody.
You know what we're gonna do now? We're gonna bring the Emperor back because the last movie fucked us so bad that we're gonna bring the Emperor back. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we gotta do because we screwed up and Kylo Ren's a douchebag, so we have to bring the Emperor back.
Let me get up out of here.
Yeah, before we review the prequels, the prequel series.
Yeah, we'll go crazy. I'll be back without a shadow of a doubt. I have another video dropping tomorrow on this, so make sure you subscribe to the channel for the new video. It'll be a quick video. I'm just gonna go through all of the stages of the infected and what happens during each stage and all that, so that if you haven't played the game and you see them, you can know what to expect when you see them in certain modes. I'll drop that video tomorrow, and then we'll be back for the pregame show. It'll start next week. The pregame show will start at 7 o'clock and we'll go up until 15 minutes before the episode starts and everything else and all that. So that's where it goes. I heard the new multiplayer play of Last of Us 3 game too. I didn't hear anything about a new Last of Us 3 game, but I'll take a look into it.
They've talked about potentially a 3, but they're releasing a new multiplayer game. But that is coming out that they announced.
They're doing a Last of Us 3. They've been working on this game for over 5. It takes at least 5 to 6 years for a game to come out.
Have you ever thought about doing any streaming on the channel, like video playing?
No, I would love to do it.
Playing The Last of Us.
I did do it. I streamed I streamed Sniper on the channel.
Oh, cool.
I did Sniper and I did a couple of guys. I did stream a couple, not seriously, just doing it just because I was playing it.
Well, if there's a Last of Us 3, we can all make a request for Tony to play through it on the channel.
No doubt about it. All right, thank you everybody who's here. Love you all. You know what I mean? We bet you every week at this date we'll be doing these streams for the whole season. So I know it's a surprise. I'll do better to get this things out so that you can be notified earlier and everything else. Brady just picked in the end zone. He's old. He's done.
This is this is a difficult one. I want both teams to lose. Is it hard? Like, I don't want the Cowboys to win, though. Come on.
As soon as The Last of Us is over, you can always tune in to Fill the Issues guy. They'll be right there with Joe Dirty Locks, and they'll be telling you their initial reactions of the episode.
Tony,
right there.
Do you take ownership of the Giants at this point in
I'm a
your
Jets
fandom?
fan.
I know you're a Jets fan, but like, would you rather the Giants win than somebody else at this point? Just
I'd rather any team from New York win, whether it's Buffalo or the Giants. Doesn't matter. As long as it's New York, it's New York. Yeah. But in the end, if it's not the Jets, it's not the same.
I guess you're from where you are. You'd be closer to the Bills fans.
Well, I'm 200 miles from Buffalo and 200 miles from the city.
Oh, that's true. I forget how north Buffalo is. From
but New York's a big fucking state, bro.
Buffalo is up there too. Like I spent some time where you're the part of upstate you're in, and like in my mind, like Buffalo's right next door, but it's not. It's like it's super fucking far.
Yeah, it's by Niagara Falls. It's not too far off. It's right by the Canadian border. So
right by that. Yep, I stayed out there by the casino area and stuff like that, and the Toronto side of Niagara Falls is.
I got love for Buffalo. Obviously, they went through some tragedy with their guy. He's better, so I got love for him. Listen, Giants, Buffalo, I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Will it happen? We'll see. All right, let me get up out of here. If you like the way it is, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and as always, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is.